We're going to go through this past exam question. It's taken from VCAA 2017, paper 1, question 6. The table below shows information about two matrices, A and B. So here's the matrix, here's the order of the matrix, and here's the rule. So we've seen these types of rules before. Remember, what it's telling us is that in order to find each of the elements, you multiply the row number by 2, and then you add the column number. And over here, this means you'd subtract the row number from the column number. So here it says the element in row I in column J of matrix A is Aij. The element in row I in column J of matrix B is Bij. The sum of A and B is, what is it? Okay, now I'm going to show you two ways of doing this. The first way is quite long, and I've actually already have it all written out here. If you make your way to the OneNote, I've provided a link here. If you click this link, it will go through this long way, and you can also look at the working here. So let's talk through this working. Ugh, this is annoying, it keeps moving. So as you can see, what they've done is, what does A mean? Well, as you can see, A is just, A1 of 1, A1 of 2, A1 of 3. And remember, each of these numbers here is telling us the row and column position. So this is saying row 2, column 3. And then according to our rule, what we want to do is multiply the row number by 2, then add the column number. So if we take one, for instance, let's just take a random one here. Let's take this one right here. This is saying multiply 3 by 2, which is 6, then plus 1, which is 7. If we take another one, this is saying multiply 1 by 2, which is 2, plus 3 is 5. And as you can see, they've figured out the whole thing. So we've seen this before. Then they've done the same thing for B. But this time the rule for B is A minus J, so minus the row number from the column number. So for instance, this would be 1 minus 1 is 0. This would be 3 minus 2 is 1. This would be 3 minus 1 is 2. And then once they've done all of that, then they've added these two things together. So they've gone 3 plus 0 is 3. 4 plus negative 1 is 3. 5 plus negative 2 is 3. So you've got all threes on your first row there. So that means our answer is D. And you could do this for each of these. So for instance, 8 plus 1 is 9. 9 plus 0 is 9. 7 plus 2 is 9. So in our last row there, they're all 9s. Now, would you agree that that's kind of long? It's a long way to go about it. If you want to see a video of someone going through this in totality, because it would take a long time. It took me a while just to explain the process, didn't it? So if you wanted to see the long way, do this. But what I want to kind of do now, and the working that I want you to put in your book, is something a bit different. And it's the quicker way to do this. So let's talk about this quicker way of answering this question. All right, let's grab a pen. So what we want to do here is we want to plus A plus B. Well, what you can do is you can actually just plus the rules together. So I can say, well, the rule for A is 2i plus j. So I can go 2i plus j. And the rule for B is I minus j. So I'm going to go I minus j. And now when I add these two things together, what's going to happen? Well, I've got 2i plus I is 3i. And I've got j minus j. Well, would you agree that these two things will just go away? So what that means is I'm just left with 3i, meaning a plus b is equal to 3i. So in other words, all I need to do is multiply the row number by 3. So if you think about what our thing looks like here, let's come up here now. So let's partition this off. Let's come up here. Let's do this. Let's do this. We've got a 3 by 3 matrix here. We know that this is I is equal to 3. This is row, sorry, let me do that again. This is row number 1. This is row number 2. This is row number 3, right? Row 1, row 2, row 3. And what this is telling us to do is to multiply the row number by 3. So in other words, take this multiplied by 3. Take this multiplied by 3. Take this multiplied by 3. So this will be 3, 3, 3. This will be 6, 6, 6. This will be 9, 9, 9. And that's D. Is that not a far better way of answering this question? So I think it's important to notice that when you are given rules and then you're told to do some sort of operation, you can actually perform that operation to the rule itself. and then you'll get something more simple to deal with. Now, obviously, if you're thinking, this is a more understandable way of doing it, go for it. You can still do it this way. But you should know both ways of going about it. If we look at our exam here, our examiner's report, this is question, I've forgotten, what is it? It's question 6. And if you read through our exam report here, it says that the questions that students found most challenging involve some symbolic analysis like question 6. So as you can see, question 6, 58% of students got this correct. Let's have a look at what they've said here. So this is what VCAA writes about it. Question 6. This question defined the elements of two matrices in terms of a rule based on the row and column values. It required students to identify the sum of these two matrices. Many students were able to answer this question correctly. The question was most easily answered by adding the two rules together to identify the rule for the sum of the two matrices. And as you can see here, they've taken this, so they've taken one rule, they've plussed it with the other rule, and they've gotten 3i. So as you can see, the j's cancel, and I've just got 2i plus I is 3i. That's what we saw. The elements of the sum depend only on the row reference I. The first row elements, I equals 1. Sorry, my brain just kind of broke there for a second. I is equal to 1 will be 3 times 1 is 3. The second row, I is equal to 2, will be 3 by 2 is 6. The third row, I is equal to 3, will be 3 by 3 is 9, leading to the correct option, D. Okay, so hopefully you get a pretty a good view of what's going on here. And yeah, hopefully all of that made sense.